In this video, we're going to take a look how to calculate the slope if we're given either a graph or 2 points that lie on the line. So we'll start by determining the slope from the graph. If we take a look at the green line, looks like a line segment, but let's imagine it continues on both sides. And slope is defined as vertical change over horizontal change. So I need to find 2 points that lie on the line. In this case, they are marked here in black. And if I go from left to right, I need to go 7 steps to the right. So that's my change in x because it's horizontal change. Change in x is equal to 7. And then I go 6 steps up, and that's my change in y, and that's equal to 6. And my slope is change in y over change in x, and that is equal to 6 over 7. Notice that the slope is positive. I went from left to right from this point to first I went to the right and then up, and since the line is increasing, as I go from left to right, the line rises. Let's take a look at the blue line. So this time, if I went from left to right, if there was a person here, he would go down. So this line will be decreasing, so the slope will be negative. And let's take a look. So first I go down 6 steps, so my change in y is negative 6. And my change in x is 6 steps to the right, so positive 6. So this slope can be evaluated as negative 6 over 6, and that is equal to negative 1. The third case is interesting because we have a horizontal line. I will follow the same logic. I have 2 points on the line, and the change in x this time, the horizontal change, is equal to 6. And I don't need to go either up or down, so my change in y is 0. So the slope would be 0 over 6, and that's just 0. And this would be the case for any horizontal lines. Horizontal lines have 0 slope. Yeah, so the slope is equal to 0 and it's also the case other way around. If I have a line with the slope of 0, it will be horizontal. The equation of this line would be, if this is my y value of 2, that y is equal to 2. The third case, I have a vertical line this time, so again my vertical change is 7, but I don't need to go neither to the left or to the right, so change in x is 0. And if I follow my formula for the slope as change in y over change in x, I am dividing by 0, which is not defined. So the slope of a vertical line is undefined. Vertical lines have undefined slope. The equation of this line would be, if this is negative 2, that x is equal to negative 2, because that's the only x value I have for this line. If you want to find the slope and you're given only 2 points that lie on the line, without drawing or sketching the line, we can find the slope using the formula that my slope is again change in y over change in x. And the change in y means the difference between y coordinates of the points. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And it doesn't matter which point I choose to be x1, y1. So let's say my 3, 5 will be x1, y1, and 7, 9 will be x2, y2. So now y2 minus y1, 9 minus 5 over x2 minus x1, 7 minus 3. That's equal to 4 over 4, and that's equal to 1. Same procedure in the second or the third question. I will label my points this time so that you can see it doesn't really matter which point is x1, y1. The second point will be x1, y1, x2, y2, and I will use the same formula. So the slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I have some negative coordinates, so be careful there. y2, 2 minus y1 negative 7 over x2 negative 1 minus x1 negative 7 . So when simplified, two negative signs will give me a plus. 2 plus 7 over negative 1 plus 7. That is equal to 9 over 6, which can be simplified. If I divide by 3, both the numerator and denominator, I get 3 halves, and that's the slope of this line. In the second part of the video, we're going to be drawing the lines if we're given one of its points and the slope. So let's start with the first line. I am given the point 0, negative 1, 0 on x-axis, negative 1 on y-axis, so that's here. And I will work with the slope, and I will rewrite this 3 as 3 over 1, and I will interpret it using that idea of rise over run, because 1, the change in y, sometimes called the rise, 1 is the run. So this slope would be interpreted that for every 1 step to the right, I go, rise is 3, so I go 3 up. And this is for all the points. So let's take a look at the graph. I start at 0, negative 1, and for every 1 step to the right, I go 3 up. 1 to the right, 3 up. 1 to the right, 3 up. And in the same way, if I were to go on the other side, so I had to go 3 up and 1 to the right. So this is the pattern I get for this line. I can now mark points and connect them with the line. So try to pause the video and draw the line. In the second question, you start at point 2, 2. So I assume you gave it a go, and we'll start at 2, 2. And again, first we'll interpret the slope. So the slope of negative 1 over 2, this is my rise, this is my run. So for every this time 2 steps to the right. This time I go -1, tells me it will be a negative rise, so I will go down. So I go 1 step down. And what it looks like on the diagram, so for every 1 step to the right, so for every 2 steps to the right, 2 steps to the right, I go 1 down, 2 to the right, 1 down. And in the same pattern on the other side, I had to go 1 down, 2 to the right. And I will highlight the points. What happened here? I went 2, 1. Sorry, I made a mistake here on the other side. So once again, I had to go 1 down. Yes, like this. So the points I get and connect them with a line. Oh, it's easier to do this on a regular paper. Yeah, somehow like that. Sorry for inaccuracy. So this is the end of the first video.